7 years ago, I took a leap into the rental industry that changed my life forever. I wasn't looking for a career change. I was just trying to pay my mortgage. And hosting guests in my spare room seemed like an easy way to make a little extra money. But something surprising happened. I actually loved it. I was meeting new people. I created a space that they could really enjoy. And hearing their stories, it felt more than like just a side hustle. It felt really meaningful. Fast forward to today, I've hosted thousands of guests, built a portfolio of over 35 rental properties, and even opened a boutique hotel. Hosting short-term rentals didn't just change my finances, it also gave me the freedom to design a life that I love. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not all smooth sailing. What you see on social media, those perfectly staged Airbnb photos and influencers talking about massive passive income, that's just one side of the story. And it's not really that realistic. The reality of hosting is much more complex, and that's what I want to share with you today. So if you ever thought about hosting a short-term rental, let me take you behind the scenes. This is the good, the challenging, and everything in between. My name is Michael Crockett, and for the last 7 years, hosting short-term rentals has been my full-time job. I've used Airbnb to travel the world and stay in places that feel more like a home than any hotel ever could. But hosting started out as a way to make ends meet. I listed a room in my home to help pay the mortgage, and right away I was hooked. I loved creating spaces for guests and getting feedback that made me want to do better. I remember one guest who left me a note saying, "This felt like staying with family." And that small comment stuck with me. It made me realize I wasn't just offering a place to sleep, I was creating an experience. The passion grew into a 6-figure business that let me quit my 9-to-5 job that I honestly really hated. And today, I help other people start and grow their own hosting journeys. But let's rewind for a second, because it wasn't always this way. You see, before I got started hosting, my life was pretty predictable. I was working a job that I didn't love. I clocked in every day, and I was always dreaming of something more, dreaming of something bigger. I wanted more freedom. I wanted to set my goals and feel like my work actually mattered. It mattered to me. Unfortunately, hosting gave me that. It started off as a side hustle, something I was doing for fun, but it really felt like a profound thing that I wanted to keep doing. So my typical hosting day, it starts with a workout, because gotta stay in shape, and some quality time with my doggy. Then I check emails and touch base with my team to make sure everything's running smoothly. And after that, I dive into operations. I review open tasks, I try and figure out how to solve problems that might be happening, and I map out the next steps for the business. I also spend a lot of time on marketing and networking by building connections with clients and industry professionals. You see, it's not all glamorous. Preparing videos, for example, isn't exactly my favorite thing to do, but every part of the day, it really feels meaningful. It feels like I'm doing it with purpose. You see, one thing people don't realize about hosting is that it's not a set it and forget it business. There's something to do every single day. And if there's not, you should be worried. For me, a lot of work happens behind the scenes. So I spend most of my time working on my business instead of in it. What that means is that I set goals, I monitor operations, and I solve problems with my team. Now let me tell you, teamwork in this business is everything. When I first started, I did everything myself. The cleaning, I'm talking the guest communications, the repairs, you name it, I was doing it. In fact, I remember one night when a guest called me, it was like 11 p.m. because they couldn't figure out how to unlock the front door and get in the home. I was exhausted, of course, but I drove over to help. And that's when I realized that I needed a better system. I needed a way to save my time and prevent the same problem from happening again. Scaling forced me to learn to let go and trust other people to handle those tasks. You see, releasing control was one of the hardest lessons for me. It really was. It's also one of the most important lessons to learn. If you're trying to grow, you can't do everything yourself. You need systems, you need processes, and you need a reliable team. And sometimes you need a doggy. Now let's talk about something a lot of people don't mention, the mental barriers that come with hosting. There's a lot of them. There's always this little voice in the back of your head saying, what if I mess up? Or what if a guest has a bad experience? What if a mistake costs you your reputation? You see, that fear is normal and it's a good motivator to go the extra mile. But I've learned that building reliable systems and trusting those systems helps a lot of that fear just go away, because you're essentially trusting the work that you put in to prevent problems before they happen. You also have to learn how to handle the pressure of being the leader. As a short-term rental host, you're not just an employee, you're the one making the decisions. You're setting the direction and you're carrying out the responsibility. That's a lot to handle, but it's also incredibly rewarding. And here's the thing, mistakes are gonna happen. They're gonna happen. I've had guests accidentally break lamps that I've loved or drop plates. I've had cleaners cancel at the last minute and leave me scrambling to find a replacement. It's all part of the process, and each challenge is an opportunity to grow and improve. Hosting is real work. It's not just taking pretty photos and raking in tons of passive income. It's managing relationships with real people, with your operations team, with your contractors, with your guests, and even yourself, most importantly. One of the biggest challenges, for example, is cleaning. Turnovers, they're a huge part of the business, and getting them right is the key to creating a great guest experience. Through those challenges, I've also learned that communication is everything. Guests need clear instructions and fast responses, and so does your team. They need consistent guidance. I've learned the hard way, because one time I had a miscommunication with the cleaner about a check-in time, and the guest walked right into a messy house. It was so embarrassing, of course, but it taught me the importance of clear, reliable systems. For me, the biggest benefit has been gaining more control over my time. I don't think I'll ever take that for granted. There's also the joy of creating something that you're proud of that brings value to other people's lives. Hosting is about more than just money, and this is the big idea here. It's about designing spaces and experiences that guests will remember. If you can do that well, everything else will follow naturally. And then there's the growth. As a host, you're constantly learning. You're learning how to problem solve, how to lead, how to adapt, how to inspire people. Those skills, they carry over into every part of your life. So if you're thinking about starting your hosting journey, just know this, it's not always easy. And at the end of the day, it's still a job, but it's worth it. The reality of hosting is that it's as rewarding as the effort you're willing to put in. So what's holding you back?